good to go. And if anything like screwed up, he'd get really bent out of shape. And it was always in my head that he was having those issues and had those concerns. And so I promised myself that I would do my best not to be like that if I could. Now, I still get very bent out of shape when things aren't going my way, or when if I've planned something that doesn't go the way I want it to. But I'm also, because I know things can go that way, because I have seen what getting bent out of shape really, really bad can do to you and people around you, I have learned over time, more so as I've gotten older, to like take things in stride and adjust and problem solve like right in the moment. And it served me well, whether I'm playing a game or I'm packing a car for a trip or I'm on a trip or I'm, working. I do tech support for a living, so I'm not calling like I don't freeze up in the headlights and I don't rage. And I'm pretty good at not exploding. I'm not perfect at it, that's for sure. But I'm way better at not exploding than I have been in the past. But, so there's this weird line that you go between, which is knowing everything is going to happen and everything going to plan, and just not having any plan at all and just flying by the seat of your pants. And I wonder, when is the spontaneity not good? I think we kind of like, we glorify spontaneity to a certain degree, I feel. Like, hey, well, let's just see what happens. And I realize that that's meant to be like the epitome of the spirit of life and everything, and I appreciate that. But I wonder, is that too much sometimes? Not always. Because there's nothing wrong with just saying, fuck it, and then just getting in the car, just going somewhere. Like, I've had some of the best nights of my life doing that. And I'll never deny that for a second, man. I'll just get up and like, whew. But there are also times where it's like, yeah, I probably should have thought this through, or at least, because one time I drove in one direction and I went from place to place to place, and it took me like an hour to get to something that was going to happen, which is fine, but had I looked at like the hours of a place, or looked at like special events online, or just done even a cursory amount of research before I left the house, I probably would have had a slightly better time of it. So it's like, I feel like there's a balance with spontaneity versus planning. As in all things, there should be a balance, because it's like, it's just like the reason I decided to talk about this was last night. Last night was a very spontaneous idea as far as what I was going to stream. Because the original idea for the morning and evening streams on Mondays was to be like, morning would just be whatever it is. And I was pretty sure it wouldn't be Destiny most of the time. I was pretty sure of it. And then I was, in the evening, I'll be doing Destiny if I needed to clean up some weekend stuff or what have you, or something else. It would always just be kind of up in the air. And then, though Destiny would kind of get like the priority in the sense that, like, reset comes on Tuesday, so my noon streams are typically going to be Destiny after a chat, because I always want to get the early week stuff done. But I could always morph into something else, because these are designed to be slightly longer streams. But last night I was like, just sitting here, and I went, I want to play Dying Light. I haven't played Dying Light in a minute. I spun it up, I started playing it, and I'm loving it. It was performing really well. And then I threw OBS on it. It was like, I was like, well, and this is, I had this, I had the problems I was having with the Division, and I couldn't figure it out. And ultimately, I think SLI enabling on the computer was what did it because I have 2 graphics cards, and having them work in tandem with what most of you know is called SLI. And so it was like, I was like, I'll play The Division, because I've been toying with the idea of playing The Division on the stream. Because I'd also thought about doing Friday the 13th, but I didn't know if anyone was going to be around, and I didn't want to just play a bunch of randoms. Like, that's something you probably have to plan a little bit. So, fuck it, I want to play The Division. And I just could not get that thing to work. And after like a half hour of just wrestling the settings and looking at things online and trying to figure out what is causing this overhead, I ended up just saying fuck it and going live and talking to people and saying, what am I doing wrong? And it took us like an hour, but we got it to where it was working. Murder, what's up, lady? What's up, lady? Murder, I love you. She's coming at me. Wow. How you doing? And I guess I feel like if I'd have taken the time to sit down, like decide what game I was really going to play, and sit down and make sure everything was optimized properly, it probably would have gone better. But at the same time, the whole reason I went live with this because I needed help. I needed to draw attention to that fact. And let's face it, when a lot of your best streamer friends are Division players and you are not, and you say, I'm playing The Division, they're like, yo, what's up? And they showed up, and it was exactly what it needed to be at the time. Murder says, hi, working out so responsibly, weirdly timed, lol. No worries. I mean, I'm getting to your responses like well after you make them, because I want to finish my sentences. So don't worry, it's cool. Nothing wrong with being weird. Am I right? Am I right? All right. You right. So, and then this morning, you overslept. Ew. I don't like oversleeping. I've been doing way too much of that lately, where I'm staying up way too late and I'm sleeping in too far and I'm way off and I don't like it. So tonight, hopefully, mobile app took your sword and sub badge. Well, I promise you they're still there. Promise you. I see them right in front of me. They're right there. It's okay. Don't worry, Bubby. Mama's got you. You can do whatever you want, sweetheart. You still got your sword and your badge. Dicks. But, so like, and then this morning when I sat down to get some stuff done, there's been something that's been bugging me for a little over a week. At some point, OBS crashed, and when it crashed, it took all of the grouping. Like, if you don't use OBS, you don't know this, but like, you have all the sources that you have in a scene. And like, a few months ago, they introduced this, what I feel is an indispensable feature, where you can group stuff together. So like my cam and my cam frame and anything is attached to that. I can group so it just moves as one thing. And that's what it's designed for. But I also use it to take stuff that is static, that I don't need to move ever, and is related to one another, and just minimize the group so I don't have to look at all these. I can just make it easier on myself, you know? So I find it's really cool. So this morning, because the crash had happened, I went ahead and painstakingly went through and fixed everything and then backed it up. And then I had to, in that process and getting it all done, I ended up screwing up some other things that I had to go back and fix, including my stream deck, which I was fixing right up until my face came on screen. I didn't realize it broke until like midway through the intro, and I'm like, oh. Like, no! It was, again, not my best look. I've had worse looks, I suppose. You know, I mean, those do happen from time to time, the bad looks. See, there was one right there, you know. What are you going to do? What are you going to do about your stuff? I'm just saying. But yeah, we're talking about spontaneity. When spontaneity goes bad, basically. You know, I can think of a couple examples where I was like, fuck it. And I just tried to do something off the cuff and it failed horribly. Last night's stream was one. I mean, it ended up being a fine stream, but it definitely was like a very different tone from other streams that I've had where everything just kind of works. And that is one of the advantages of streaming from console. You don't have nearly as many problems. But I messed with a bunch of different stuff and got to a place where it's working. And I think that I'm probably just going to stick with a 720 60 frame in perpetuity. Much as I love the 900 1600 by 930, which I like it because it's a lot crisper looking to me. I think that the 60 frames per second is more valuable for most people, and a lot of the streamers I watch are in 720 60. And if I'm playing PC games, you want them to look good. So I don't know. I guess I'm just gonna do that now. But I guess that's the thing. Like, my big thing, whether with all processes, whether it's streaming or work or watching TV, like whatever, I like to know I can press a couple buttons and consistently get the same the same response, the same experience. I want it to be a certain way, because you work hard to like have things a certain way. Just like even making coffee, like I have an expectation, like I'm gonna fill the water to exactly this point, and put exactly this many beans in there, and I'm brewing it, and it's gonna taste like this, And that's a simple thing, and most people don't think about it like that, but I do. I'm just like, I want this each time I do this. And when it doesn't happen that way, I'm like, in my head, but I was okay, fine. But that is an example of where excessive planning or an excessive need to control can be bad. Because you don't want to get bent out of shape because your fucking coffee didn't turn out the way you wanted it to. That's not good. It's not helpful to anyone, especially yourself. But on the same token, if you turn around and went to the coffee maker and you're like, I want to make coffee, but you have no idea if there's even coffee in the house, or if there's sugar or creamer or whatever. For example, we're really low on cream. We have sugar, and we're both out of coffee, which is bad. Probably need to go to the store later and get coffee. That way we don't kill anybody. At least of each other. But if you don't know ahead of time that you have the ingredients to make whatever it is you want to make in the kitchen, that's not going to happen. So I would argue that even with spontaneity, there should be an inherent or implied level of planning. And by this I mean you should make it to where you are as prepared as you can be for anything you would potentially want to do. So like, if you are prone to maybe just going on random road trips, that means making sure your car is well maintained. You get the oil changed, you keep gas in it, and keep the filters swapped out. Keep it somewhat clean so there's room to just throw a bag in it and go. Same with the kitchen or anything else. You keep the kitchen clean, and you have some basic ingredients always around the house just in case you feel like having whatever. Or in the case of streaming, trying to optimize your setup to where just about anything you throw at it is going to go okay. And it looks good regardless. So that you don't have to fiddle a whole bunch on the fly when you decide you want to stream something else. Again, these are a little bit weird. But that's my thing. It's my thing. But as it is, I just feel like there is that much needed balance that I think so many of us do not make a concerted effort to have. Because I know a lot of people that, like, they try to never plan, or where there's people that, like, plan excessively, and I struggle to be somewhere in the middle, even though I lean a bit towards the planning or control side of the house, which is, as discussed, it's like, oh, okay. Right? You know, it's kind of like, it's like anytime you go, like, the first day of your job, or the first day of school, or a long road trip, or you have been planning it, and that you know what you're going to wear, you know what you need to bring with you, and you have an expectation of what's going to happen. Well, what almost invariably happens? Something different. It's not always bad, and it's not always going wrong, but it's something different. And when it's something different, some people perceive that as a failure because it's not what I wanted. It's not what I expected. You know, sometimes your expectations being dashed can be a good thing. Sometimes things go way better than you expect. Like when Farron and I went to see Slayer a couple months ago, that did not go the way I expected it to go at all. I expected to really not enjoy myself. From a physical standpoint, like I thought that we weren't going to have good seats. We'd have to stand the whole time. I was worried it would be warm in there. I was just worried that it wasn't going to be what I unreasonably wanted it to be, which was comfortable. You know, eyes, ears, body, the whole thing. And to my surprise, it was the opposite of that. We had great seats that were very comfortable. They fit in quite nicely. I didn't have to stand at all to see anything. We were in a great spot. And we weren't far away. She did a really, really good job of the tickets. And it was good. It was really good. And I was so pleased by the whole thing. And that's a birthday I'm not going to forget, even though it happened like a month after my birthday, but she got the tickets way in advance and everything. It was such a great thing for me. But I expected it to be good. I expected it to be fun, like I would have a good time, but I was going to, like, at the end of it, my back was going to be sore. My feet were going to be killing me. I was going to be sweaty. None of that. None of it. The only thing that made it uncomfortable was the part of it that I was more as worried about anything else. It was an all-day thing. We were there from like 3 in the afternoon till like 11 at night. And it was just boom, 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 boom. You know, and getting to and from the bathroom between bands, fucking forget it. You know, I went to the bathroom at one point during one of my favorite bands, the band I was mainly there to see, other than Slayer, which is Behemoth. But they played the song I really, really, really wanted to hear almost right away. I'm like, whatever song they play after this, as cool as it will be, I don't care. I heard the song I needed to hear, and I have to pee now. So I peed, and it was fine, you know. But I didn't plan that, you know. You can't plan where you're not in control. You can't lay out all the pieces. All you can do in those situations is kind of like, you control what you can control. And that's something that was taught to me at a very early age of my adulthood. It was something that was banged into my head, which was you can't control everything. You got to control what you can control and do the best you can when the things you aren't expecting come up. And that served me pretty well, despite my natural inclination to try to control everything. You know, not people necessarily. I just want to know what's going on, because for me, I have changed the definition of being in control for myself. For me, being in control means at least just being aware of the situation, if that makes sense. Being aware that of my surroundings, of the situation, and what's going on. So, like, knowing as much as I can, that way I can just adjust to whatever. you know, um, so that I can plan around it as much as I possibly can. Right. And I think that's the best that one can hope for in a situation where you have a lot of friends or a lot of family or you live with people or whatever. Because I don't care how well you plan, kids have a way of modifying that without meaning to. You know, spouses, partners, boyfriends, girlfriends, whatever. You know, they will change things on you without meaning to change things on you. Like, you know, it's where communication comes in. Like, you cannot plan your day super stringently if you have anyone else in your life. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't, you know? And I think some people probably, especially like introverted people that are used to being alone and like really like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. I think sometimes they struggle with that, you know, or if they're an introverted person that doesn't want to have to think about it, doesn't want to have to plan, I think it's the same thing. Because it's like, I just sat down to do X and you're asking me to do Y? Why? You know, there's nothing wrong with structure. There's nothing wrong with wanting to just have whatever happen. But I think if you really dig in and define what it is you have to have the structure for, like what makes things easiest, and allow yourself the ability to let anything else go, you're probably going to be fine. You know? So, at least that's what I try to do. I don't always succeed, but I do try to just kind of say, okay, what are the things that I really need to make sure I have to not flip my lid today? You know, a clean shirt, you know, keep my beard somewhat under control, coffee whenever possible, vape and vape juice. Those are the big things. Good headphones, need to be able to hear. If I can control all that stuff in most situations on most days, it feels pretty good. Like I'm all right at that point. But if one of those things are out of place, I do tend to like kind of flip out a little bit. And that is what I get from my dad. Like my dad had the, like, and I'm like him too, in that there's this list of things that he would expect to be available to him when he wanted it to be available. Whether that was a use of the television, a ham sandwich, a soda, glass of beer, whatever. Like whatever it was. And I understand where his mindset came from. Which was very simple. He's like, well, I work really hard to make sure that everyone has everything I deserve also to have. And I agreed with him 100% at the time. I agree with him now. If you are head of a household, you know, and I include like equal partners and all that stuff too, I think everyone should have what they're looking for. You know, whether it's a salad, a piece of chicken, and a beer, whatever. Like when you're ready to go eat, there should be what you want to eat, ready to eat. Murder says, I'm trying to participate, but I can't breathe, LeMayo. Don't worry, catch your breath, don't die. Hi, King Elk Orvin. I'm just gonna call you Elk. It's hard for me. So hard. How you doing, Elk? Good to see you, man. But he was like that though. He wanted what he wanted when he wanted it. And it wasn't I know people just call you Elk, but I still I like trying to pronounce the whole thing once in a while. But the thing is with him, like if he didn't have that thing, which was again a relatively short list, understandably so, he'd get bent out of shape. And I understand that more and more as I get older. Because it's like, all I want is a sandwich. All I want is a glass of milk. Or all I want is this. There is no reason that these should not be available when we've made steps to have the ingredients for these things or this element of life available to us in the house. So I'm rather protective of those things, and I know that Theron has certain things. She's like, this is mine. Stay away from it. Fuck off. And I appreciate that, because with partners and kids, you have to do that. You have to, because kids will rip through everything if you let them. I know this because I was a kid, and I did that. And to be fair, in a household where you have a family, if you don't tell somebody, if no one knows that you're saving that cheesecake, it'll get eaten. But then there's stuff that you would assume gets saved, but doesn't. Like, there's one time we had cake in the house. Like, Farron just made a cake out of nowhere, which was awesome. It was really good cake. And the last piece just sat out for a whole day, because we all assumed she would want the last one. And I asked her, like, baby, you gonna eat the last piece of cake? She goes, no, it's for everybody else. I'm like, so I ran out the kitchen before anyone else heard, and I'm like, you got cake? But that does come back to, like, when I purchase this thing at the grocery store, I want it for me. So I will take steps whenever possible to ensure that it remains mine, either by eating it right away, or putting it behind the thing that people tend to want. Like the kids love their pizza rolls and certain other things in the freezer. But it's something I really like that we don't normally have. Well, let's put the pizza rolls in front of it. Not because they can't have the thing that I bought, but because I want them to go through the thing that they would naturally go for first. And when that's over, and if I haven't taken the time to eat whatever that is, and I'm being vague because I can't think of an example, then they can have it. It's fine. But I don't want someone who's just randomly grabbing whatever to eat to grab the thing that is special. Murder's like defensive eating. Oh, that's true. Elk was, I guard Oreos and ice cream in the house. Yeah. That's one of Farron's big ones, like Oreos. And when she does get Oreos, she wants to make sure no one takes all the stuff. The kids think they're smart. They'll leave like one cookie at on each end in each sleeve and act like they didn't eat them all. I'm like, no, man, that's not how it works. Like, no. Not eating them all means leaving the majority of the cookies to your mother. I don't know how many different ways I have to say that. Take peanut butter cups to my room to hide them. There you go. That's something that gets ripped through. And it doesn't help that the youngest, because I'm right here. The kitchen's right there. I can see everything happen to the kitchen on the weekends. And I don't know. I still don't fully understand. But, like, sometimes she'll go in the kitchen, do what she does do, and leave. But most of the time, she's doing this. Looking to see if I'm looking. Like, and then I see that and I look. She goes, what? I'm like, you're looking at me, which means you're wondering if I'm watching what you're doing. Which gives me the impression you're doing something that maybe you're not supposed to be doing. Or you're worried that maybe you're... like, what is it? Like, because I have yet to notice you doing something really heinous in the kitchen lately. And I'm just like... It's a weird thing, and I guarantee you that as a kid I did the same thing. But it's funny, because I'll be on a call and just be like... just looking over like, am I doing this right? She's a good kid, though. I just had to... Yeah, I don't know. And, with food, if people take the food that you were hanging on to, it's not the end of the world. But what if, let's say there's one plate of, we'll just say spaghetti. And you were really looking forward to that spaghetti, and someone takes the last of it, and you see that the portion they took, half of it's in the trash. Doesn't that make your blood boil? Like, look, I don't care if you take it. If you take it, I can always get more, whatever. But at least eat it. At least eat the fucking thing. Like, don't be like, nah, in the bin. Like, what? What? Come on. Elk keeps candy in the freezer. Yeah. It's a good one. For those of you that frequent the stream, we are playing Destiny. It is reset day. I don't know how long we'll be on it. There's a secret that's going on right now, some puzzle. And I leave the puzzles to the people that really, really like puzzles in Destiny because I'm like, I'm not going to figure this crap out. A lot of it's like math and all this stuff. I'm like, I don't care. Just tell me how to do it. It's awesome that they exist, and I know the community loves them. It's just, he's not for me. So we will be popping in there to just finish up some bounties, get the weekly stuff done. Having fun. Math is great stuff. I just don't like it anymore. I'm really good at it. I just don't enjoy it. I'm just like, whatever. Yeah, basically. The only math I like is the one where I have more money than I thought I did. That's the math I enjoy now. Not like usually when I look at the bank account, I'm like, oh. You know. Like I had to change brands of cat food spontaneously yesterday because I didn't have enough for the brand that I needed. I didn't like doing that, but what am I supposed to do? Cats gotta eat. You know? Cats gotta eat, you're broke, you gotta find something. You gotta find a way to do it. So I did. Other cats are starving. They are not starving. And cats not starving is so good. It's really good for your sanity. Because you don't hear it. It's like Jaws, but with meows. Is that weird? I think it's weird. I think it's weird. Don't at me. But yes, we spontaneously changed the cat food brand. That was not a good thing. They're fine. They're not sick or anything, but I felt bad about it. I still do. Clearly. You know, more than 12 hours later. Like 16 hours later, now that I think about it. They would try to rip my face off or anything, so it's fine. We'll be alright. And I am kind of like it's funny how much emphasis we place on dogma and ritual in our lives, especially with like caffeine or whatever. And I guess I want coffee more since I can't have it today. It's weird. It's very weird. I might have some. I don't know. But it's crappy coffee and it makes me super jittery. I don't know. Might make it. I just don't know how smart that is. It's literally dollar store coffee that I've had since May. So, you know, it's 8 months old, 9 months old. It's good, right? It's fine, right? It's a coffee baby, right? No. I don't recommend it. Don't recommend it at all. But alright. Well, it's not instant coffee. It's just ground coffee, like regular ground coffee. I normally do whole bean, and I get a specific kind, and I grind it fresh. Grind. And it react. For whatever reason, this particular coffee that I normally get, My body's perfectly chill with it. No problems. This coffee I bought, at least for a while anyway, made me a little bit more anxious than the average cup of coffee. And I don't know why. I can't figure it out. Now, granted, I've lost a lot of weight since I first got that coffee. I've been drinking a lot more water. I don't drink soda, hardly at all, unless I get fast food or something, or we're out or whatever. And I generally feel a lot better than I have in a long time, so it probably wouldn't be so bad. So maybe I'll fuck off for a minute and make some. I don't know yet. But them's the breaks, kid. You know. And what pisses me off about it is that I thought I was super clever and went grocery shopping Saturday, and it was a good grocery trip. But because I went to Aldi, there's some stuff you just can't get there, like the coffee I drink. No shame, I drink Dunkin' Donuts whole bean coffee. I've had all kinds of different coffees, and they all taste wonderful, and I love them very much, and they're inarguably higher quality coffees than the Dunkin' whole bean. But the Dunkin' holding butt, but I really enjoy the flavor, and it works. It just works. The Dunkin' holding butt coffee. And we hold you up. Let's caffeinate this shit. You know. Oh man. Captions, you cray. You so cray.